In this video, I will be using the Bush-Tucker data set to run a repeated measures ANOVA. So the first thing we're going to do is make a little graph to visualize our data. We go up here to graphs, down to chart builder, and we're going to select just the simple bar. We're going to bring everything over to the y-axis so we can visualize the data. Next, we will rename the y and x axis. Okay, so I added some error bars and I took off the footnotes and I wrote mean time to retch in seconds for the y-axis, and on this axis should be animals. Okay, then next you pressed OK. And once that is done, our little graph should look like this. So we see here in this graph that it looks like the kangaroo and fish are the quickest times to retch in seconds. Now to run the repeated measures ANOVA, we're going to go up here to Analyze, down to General Linear Models, and then we're going to select repeated measures. We're going to change this and we're going to type in animal into this. And we have 4 levels since we have 4 different animals. And then we press add and that'll bring that down. Then we go here and click define to do some more things. So we're going to want to bring all of these over. Okay, I did something wrong. Let me start over. Alrighty, now that I got all of these over into the within subject variables, we see that we want to press EM means. And we're going to select animal and bring that over into the display means for box. And then we're going to press compare mean effects. And down here, we're going to select Braun-Peroni. Then we go to options and we press descriptive statistics. And then from there, we press OK. That was pretty fast. Alrighty, so in this table here, we see that on average, the quickest retching was after fish eyeball and kangaroo, which implies that they are more disgusting. So in the Mockley's test down here, the Mockley's test of sphericity, we see that this table shows Mockley's test for this data. And here there is a significant value of 0.047, which is less than 0.05. So we must accept the hypothesis that the variances of the differences between the levels were significantly different. So therefore, this is telling us that the assumption of sphericity has been violated. Now, if we go down here to the main ANOVA test, the test of within subject effects, we see here that the sum of squares for the within subject effect of animal tells us how much of the total variability is explained by the experimental effect. We can also see here the error term. So we see here the error term right here, which is the amount of unexplained variation across the conditions of the repeated measures variable. Now we see here the sum of squares. They are converted into the mean squares by dividing by the degrees of freedom. And then the F ratio, that is obtained by dividing the mean squares for the experimental effect 27.708 by the mean error squares 7.304. I lost myself here. I went too fast, I think. There it is. So we divide that by this number here, the 7.304, the error mean squares. Okay, So the significance of F is 0.026, which means it is significant because it is less than 0.05. Therefore, we can conclude that there was a significant difference in the time taken to retch after eating different animals. However, this isn't telling us which animals resulted in quickest retching times. And on a side note, although this seems to make sense, earlier we did see that the assumption of sphericity had been violated. So, well, we have to correct that by correcting the degrees of freedom in such a way that it is accurate when sphericity is violated. So, the effect of changing the degrees of freedom, here we have it as a 3 and here we have it as a 1. We see that the effect of changing the degrees of freedom is that the significance of the F value changes. Here you can see it changing. And the effect of the type of animal is less significant after correcting for sphericity. So moving on to the pairwise comparisons. By looking at the significant values, we can see that the only significant differences between group means is between the stick insect and the kangaroo testicle, and the stick insect and the fisheye. No other differences are significant. So in conclusion, after looking at all of this, we see that since the main effect was not significant, we can conclude that the type of animal did not have a significant effect on how quickly contestants retched.